Good morning. Welcome into today's Chiropractic and Nutrition here on Unforgettable 1220 WERT and Classic Hits 99.7 WKSD. My name is Chris Roberts, and with us in the studio here today, Deb Ford, MSRD of the Good Earth Health Food Shop on South Shannon Street in Van Wert, and Dr. Ian Rainey, Doctor of Chiropractic in the same location. Good morning, everybody, and I guess I should ask what's new in our line of work these days?
You know that food label that is on every package of food that you buy?
We heard about this on the news last week.
Yes, yeah. Well, the FDA has released their, proposed a couple changes. And the reason they're doing this is because the area of nutrition that is really the most important right now is due to the calorie content. And on that, they have like 2,000 calories is what they think most people should be eating. Well, that's all changing because I guess people have been following that and they're getting bigger and bigger. So they're now going to be
Hey, you could get bigger and bigger on 2,000 calories a day?
Oh, my goodness, yes. Yeah. You could bounce a lot of us down the street if we ate 2,000 calories a day. But anyway, because so many of the health problems are associated to obesity, heart disease, and stroke, they're going to put a lot more emphasis on the calories. So it's going to be, when you look at the label, the calorie content is going to jump out at you. I saw a proposed mock-up, and it's like, you've got, normally it's in like number 10 font. Well, this is going to be in 50 font. So, you're going to see also the serving size is going to be reflecting more what people eat, because up until now...
Yeah, well, I can give you an example. If you buy a bag of cookies, it'll say serving size, 1.5 cookies and 75 calories or whatever it says on there, but nobody eats 1.5 cookies. Most of us eat half the bag. If you take the entire bag and add up all the calories on there, there's your 10,000.
That's what they're going to do.
Just one.
Yeah, that's what they're going to do. And another thing, not only are they going to make the serving size more representative of what people eat, but they're also going to have to add how many grams of sugar have been added by the manufacturer.
Wow.
Which is, it's huge, because that's going to encourage the manufacturers to change their recipes a lot. Because now, you buy tomato juice and it's kind of confusing because it's going to break it down into sugars. And so you think, well, is that added? Is it not added?
Yeah,
so this is going to be actually a whole line that is added sugars. So,
but you know what? This really won't make anybody thinner, will it? I mean, it'll only make people who are really interested in what they're eating have an idea of what it is that they're eating.
But more people are paying attention.
And for those people, this is going to work out well.
Right.
So it's a positive step in that aspect. But it isn't going to. For people who just don't care, it's not going to change anything.
Yeah, but more people are becoming aware that they are what they eat, and when most people get heavier, the risk factors for stroke and heart disease and diabetes and high blood pressure, all those go up. So the doctors are also being encouraged to spend a little more time telling people, your BMI or your body mass index is too high. You are in the obese range. So, people are getting more encouragement everywhere. And, the Let's Move It campaign by Mrs. Obama has got even the president and the chief aide jogging through the White House and drinking water. So, it's a little here, a little there, all adding up to maybe people are going to be paying more attention, and we've
at
got
least it gives more accurate information to people who are interested.
Yeah. And then there's a little bit of a delay on government regulation and laws. So now that things are becoming more in effect, and now the insurance companies are requiring you to record BMI, and the doctors are required to do certain things and provide documentation in order to get reimbursed, then they're applying those principles to the patients and making them more aware.
Well, and the CDC, the Center of Disease Control, has been tracking rates or weight, and every decade it's been going up and up and up and up. And when now it's over a third of the people are obese, got to be changing. And when over 16% of our calories come from non-nutritive, nothing sugar.
Which actually strips some of the minerals out. So you get a negative result.
That's a good thing to have some label changes. At least we're trying to make.
That's neat that they're going to be explaining or making you disclose whether or not it's been added sugar or regular sugar, because whenever I read a label, I have to look at how far down on the list
is sugar.
Because, if it's got 23 grams of sugar, I'm not sure if that jelly is, from the strawberries that's got the sugar, or if it's from the added high fructose.
Mm-hmm.
There's a political aspect also, I think, to labeling. A lot of folks like to think that the government is getting involved in things that they shouldn't get involved in. But when you look at it, a government's responsibility is to protect its people. That's one of the main responsibilities of any government anywhere on the face of the earth, protect its people. And if the government looks at this as being a protection aspect, then they're well within their rights and bounds to do that.
And really, when you think about it, if we can help people get thinner, you're going to save a lot of money in tax.
It's going to be tremendous.
Yeah, because if you have somebody that's becoming diabetic at 15 and what that is going to do to their health through the years, as opposed to when they get it when they're 70. Big difference. Some other things they're going to have is avoid too much category, which is like the sodium. And they're trying to simplify this because, those labels, you about needed a degree just to be able to understand them. And getting enough vitamin D and potassium. They're adding that too because those are considered very cardioprotective and immune protective. So
now why would a person want to stay away from sodium? This is things like canned goods, a lot of processed foods. The sodium helps preserve the food? Or what is it? Provides flavor?
Both. So they're, sodium and fat and sugars.
Makes you retain, the sodium makes you retain water, correct?
Makes you want more and more.
Makes you want more.
Go back to the 2,000 calorie thing that you were talking about when we first started this here this morning. There's a difference in calories, though. I mean, if I ate 2,000 calories worth of chocolate chip cookies as opposed to 2,000 calories worth of asparagus, or
so you couldn't do that. You could physically, if you try to eat too many fruits and vegetables, you just can't.
The fiber fills you up.
My gosh. And that's another thing between, when you juice a lot of things, you can drink 16 ounces of orange juice, which is going to be like 7 oranges. But you couldn't possibly eat 7 oranges.
Well, what I'm getting at is, what does the term empty calorie mean?
That means there's nutrient density, where you've got a lot of vitamins and nutrients that go into each calorie.
So if you had 5 oranges versus 5 organic oranges, you're going to be getting more nutrients per
or Tang
orange.
Or any of those that are just like orange drink. Where they add a lot of sugar to
marketed foods.
So if you eat 2,000 calories a day and you're eating good nutrient-dense foods, you're going to be getting more nutrients and phytonutrients and macronutrients and everything that your body needs to regenerate and heal and repair. And
so generally speaking, most fast food is an empty calorie type food. Most.
They're trying to change that, and kudos to them. They're really getting a lot of pressure to do that.
But your standard burger and fries and a Coke.
Oh my gosh, yes. Yeah.
And that is what most of us define
fast
food
you
as.
look at 1965 or 1970 meal from McDonald's, it's like what the children's meal is today. It was a little burger, a little bit of fries, and a small Coke.
And you got change back from your dollar. That was in the early 70s, late 60s, that was the marketing campaign. You could get the All-American, and you got those 3 things. You got the burger, the fries, and a drink, and you got change back from your dollar.
Wow.
But that's what all but that was when we started getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Not necessarily directly because of McDonald's, but because of that line of thinking. Inexpensive fast food.
So now people don't even cook, and when the economic downturn, as they coined the phrase, McDonald's stock actually went up because they unveiled.
You can eat cheaper at a lot of fast food restaurants than you can cook yourself.
No. I mean that is such a false. I mean, if people really made
everybody has 2 for 1
vegetable
specials.
soup and bean soup. I mean, if really people wanted to cook very, very frugally, boy, you can eat on next to nothing.
Folks, you have no idea how much fun it is to antagonize the nutritionist.
Yeah, I wish people would, spend a little, the old
time.
crock pot.
Yeah, everything's time and labor intensive, though. You gotta.
So when can we start looking for those labels?
Well, it's not going to be for a while. They've got the proposed, and they've got a couple coming out. Government moves really slow, but the FDA knows they're going to have to make some changes in it. So, and everybody's on board. They all think it's a good idea. So, you can see some more mumblings on this, but definitely 2 years, you'll see big changes.
That's great.
We have a couple of other topics we want to cover here, and one of those topics is migraines. And they take on a lot of different forms, do they not?
They do. I mean, typically you think of the devastating headaches that people get, but it can also be, flashes in the eyes. It can be a lot of different things. Causes, boy, you hear a lot of people say, I can barometric pressure. They can always tell when storms are coming in because migraines, and they can be devastating for people. A lot of different causes. It can be food sensitivities. It can be allergies. It can be all sorts of things.
Yeah. A lot of chiropractic patients will come in with headaches, migraines, but you're taught to differentiate what the cause is based on the presentation. So if they have a migraine, we're thinking, okay, it's going to be more on one side of the body, it may be unilateral is what they call it, and then maybe more focused around the eye. And like you had mentioned, Deb, sometimes they have presentations with an aura or a visualization. And it may last 4 to 72 hours. It kind of depends. But a lot of people will, try to take, different things to try to alleviate the symptoms. But I mean, I have just found chiropractic to be phenomenal with my, headache patients. That's like the majority of people who come in. They come in with headaches, and then they're gone. And you'd think that it may take a couple visits, but one visit, nope, that's it, and then they don't come back for a couple months.
So there are some things also, migraines without any pain. I think they call them ocular spasms, and you have that aura type of thing that sometimes moves from one eye to another. There's no pain involved.
No, and they think a lot of that has to do with the vascular system, like vascular changes in the blood, and then so that's why sometimes caffeine will help.
Help?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. As long as you don't overdo the caffeine, it'll kind of help to.
That's why people will take Excedrin, because it has a little caffeine in it. And actually, there's some new guidelines that they are recommending, anti-inflammatories. So I think boswellia and turmeric would work really good.
I always thought that caffeine really was bad for headaches.
No,
because
it's going to constrict the blood vessels.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's the inflammation. But
I thought with caffeine, that way you could stay up all night and enjoy your headache.
Yeah.
Keep on going.
Yeah. No, and but for a long time, people have used magnesium. Because that would be a relaxer, so there wouldn't be the spasms. Also, vitamin B2, riboflavin, has been something that
I didn't know that.
Yeah, notoriously people have been deficient in these, and so it has a therapeutic effect on that. But in Europe, they've used feverfew or an extract of butterbur. A lot of new research on that, and it's good that some of these things that they have used for a long period of time. Now we're doing science on it, and it's actually that the butterbur has been effective in over 48% of difficult cases of migraine headaches. So, real good. But, of course, one of my favorites is the turmeric extract, which is going to take inflammation down everywhere.
So now let's move on to from migraines to another malady that some people are dealing with, and certainly has been popular by television commercial aspects anyway, and that is shingles. What do we know about shingles? What do you have to have something before you get shingles?
Chickenpox.
Is that
chickenpox.
right?
And who hasn't had chickenpox?
I don't know.
Well, no, I don't think you ever.
I don't think I ever have.
I think I took you places trying to get you exposed to chickenpox. Yeah, no.
Like a good mother, trying to take.
Well, you're going to get them sometime.
Trying to take you out and get you exposed to diseases.
Yeah. Well, you want the immune system to get exposed, and really, we'll talk a little bit more about allergies later too. But it's so much is the immune system, but. It used to primarily, you'd only see shingles in elderly people. Well, that's sure not the case anymore. I mean, 30, 35-year-olds, 40-year-olds, not uncommon at all. And it's the nerve endings just becoming inflamed, and that virus is coming out in the nerve endings. And,
so this whole chicken pox thing is dormant. Is that what happens?
Yes,
it comes as a childhood disease. It goes dormant. You're walking around with it, and then sometime
we don't know why, but some sort of a stressor is bringing it back. So, and really it's kind of interesting. I'd like to know why it used to just hit elderly people, and now it's just any age, really. I mean, I would be surprised.
Well, if it's a stress factor disease, I mean, almost any age is under a lot more stress now than they certainly were when I was younger.
Right.
Yeah.
But
The world moves a lot faster.
This has been like in the last 10 years. So anyway, and it's that nerve ending just coming on fire. So
burning, itching.
Oh, yeah. And of course, a lot of times people get it in close to the eye area, which can be very, very serious. So, and it used to be that, just be around the torso, on the back and the front. And
So what do we do about that? Well,
strengthening the immune system.
So once it gets there, it has to run its course. Is that right?
Yeah. Well, yeah. And you just want to speed it through that.
Well, in the elderly people, their immune system is more weak and they're more compromised, and that's just why they say certain,
populations.
Younger children, older people. So what you want to do is just boost the immune system, and
that's how we might prevent it.
No, that's how you're going to help get rid of it quicker.
Okay.
So basically, it's been dormant. A lot of theories on why it comes back, but maybe the immune system was down. You can go ahead and support that immune system. It can make the virus go back dormant again and go away, and then your symptoms will go away.
Can you get it more than can shingles come back more than once?
Gosh. And, one of my favorite methods to boost the immune system is using the amino acid lysine, because that helps the viruses stay dormant. A lot of people, though, has to be a balance between the amino acid arginine and the amino acid lysine. So many times people will have problems after the holidays when they're eating a lot of peanuts
and caffeine and alcohol.
Yeah, and that amino acid is very prevalent. The arginine is very prevalent.
So wait a minute. We do the caffeine to get rid of our migraine, but we get shingles.
Well, it's not really related there, but that's going to just add
stress. It just sounded like it to me.
Yeah,
to a comedian, it's related.
Yeah. So it creates an imbalance when you have way too many peanuts, too much caffeine, too much stress. That is going to affect the balance of the lysine and the arginine.
Right. So I had this young guy that was a weightlifter, and he had started taking a lot of arginine because it is good for muscle building. Well, he just had this continuous flare of shingles. So,
it's
he comes in and I'm talking to him, and he just happened to mention that he was doing that. So,
ding, ding, ding.
For him. Yeah, so I like the lysine, and a lot of people will also take that if they're just going to get an occasional herpes outbreak on their their lip,
because it's the herpes simplex virus,
right?
So
same
it's
sort of
similar
thing.
Family.
So a lot of people, if they're getting the cold sores frequently, sometimes they'll take lysine whenever they get under stress, or more times than not. So I love the lysine; that's really good. I also like propolis. Sometimes
I was going to say the same thing.
Yeah, sometimes if that virus is just really nasty, if they're really run down, I would add B propolis.
And your website is
debford.com.
Can't get any easier than that.
DEBFORD,
Can't get any easier than that. DEBFORD.com. Okay, good. And we'll catch you next week here on Unforgettable 1220 and Classic Hits 99.7.